it's natural and normal to feel afraid. That actually God's created us with three physical systems: productivity, recovery, and security. And that your limbic system is going to be activated by this news because it's a threat. It's a threat to all of us. And so it's okay and normal and natural to feel fear. So don't try and push your fear away as if it's spiritually not appropriate. You know, Jesus says, don't worry about tomorrow, for today has got enough cares of its own. What he's saying is, attend to the fear of the day, but don't attend to the catastrophic fears of your mind, which are about things that haven't happened yet. So the first thing is to accept that fear is okay, and to recognize that you're going to be afraid. I think that three important things we can do. The first one is to recognize that whilst we are isolating, we don't need to get isolated. And for many people watching right now, listening right now, there might be a sense of, I'm all on my own. If you're a single person, if you're an older person on your own, that can be very terrifying. But what we want to is recognize that whilst you might be physically isolating, you don't need to be emotionally or spiritually isolated. And there are a number of things that you can do. Obviously, dial into media, but be careful not to dial into news media all the time. Phone friends, ask a friend to call, ask family to drop notes by, connect with friends on whatever service provider you use, but try and stay connected every day and make sure you have one or two meaningful conversations, but also try and make sure those conversations aren't totally dominated by this virus. Try and think and to talk about other things, and obviously reminisce about things that happen. If you've got a pet your pet. If you've got a window, put some birdseed on your window and just come and enjoy the birds. They'll keep you company. But the key thing is to recognize you might be isolating, but you don't need to be isolated. And the most important message there is that Jesus will never leave you, that you're never isolated from the presence of Jesus. And, in Psalm 139, it says, I go up to the heavens, but you are there. I go down into the depths of the sea, but you are there. Where can I flee from your presence? Where can I go from your presence? Everywhere your hand will guide me. So however isolated you might feel, be attentive to the reality of the presence of God that's with you, and don't allow yourself to be isolated when you're isolating. So that's the first thing, very important for your emotional well-being, to stay connected. The second thing I think is what we call gratitude training. Now, if you're anything like me, it's much easier at times like these to see the empty glass. Forget half empty; it's just completely dry right now. There's this terrifying virus. People are dying, and we are, as a nation and as a world, in desperate pain. Mm. But you can choose to let that dominate your event horizon entirely, in which case you will definitely feel emotionally more troubled. Or you can begin to explore with gratitude your immediate circumstances. So if you are well right now, a thing to give thanks to God for is that you have your health. And you can say, God, I'm just so thankful that I'm healthy right now. If you're mildly unwell, you can say, thank you, God, that I've just got a mild illness right now. If you have got friends and family that can dial in on your phone or call you can say, thank God that I've got this media outlet. Thank God that I've got some toilet roll in my house. It might be small things, but what we know psychologically is that gratitude training actually changes your mood. And you can either allow yourself to edit out all of the positive thoughts, or you can allow yourself to edit them in. But that is a discipline. So my encouragement is to choose gratitude. Paul says, I found the secret of being thankful in all circumstances. And I think we have an opportunity. In the West, we rarely ever have this opportunity. But right now, we have the opportunity to put Paul's teaching into practice and say, how can I be grateful in this incredibly difficult circumstance? That's the second thing. I think that the third thing is around catastrophizing. And for anxiety sufferers like me, we have a very heightened sense of self-preservation. And so what your anxiety system is typically trying to get you to do is to see further down the line, to look further down into the future, to work out what threat might be coming along on your event horizon. I'm sure many listeners, when you were a kid, you might have played those platform games in the arcade, and you're a fighter jet, and then things appear, and you have to sort of navigate them and shoot them down by the time they arrive at your top screen. If you're a good player, you can almost work out the pattern of when the big bomber is going to appear. Mm. And what we try and do as anxiety sufferers is sort of look beyond the immediate screen and envisage what might actually happen next. Now, that overthinking is what we call catastrophizing. And catastrophizing creates huge problems for us because effectively we're fighting battles that we're not even needing to fight. And we're stimulating adrenaline we don't need to use. And so I'd encourage you right now to, again, take Jesus' teaching in Matthew 6:34 to heart and say, actually, rather than worrying about tomorrow, that's, if you like, catastrophizing this problem, I'm going to deal with the immediate challenges of today. And again, this is hard, but actually it is a discipline. And if you find yourself tracking away into a catastrophic circumstance which hasn't happened yet, practice just bring yourself back into the moment. And I do that through the senses. So feel something. You might feel that your jeans, rub your hands on your jeans or on the table, feel the texture of that. Smell something. Smell the air. You'll be amazed what you smell when you actually try and smell the air. Smell your room. This room needs dusting. So smell something, feel something, hear something, listen into your immediate environment, try and tune into, is it traffic, a train, children running in a garden next door? Hear something, and then know something. Know that God is with you in this very present moment. So try and use your senses to bring you back into the now, and your sensory presence will help you to change what you're thinking here about what might happen, and keeping you rooted in the right now with Jesus, which is where you really need to be. So those are the three things I'd encourage you to do to actually know that you're isolating, but you're not alone, practice gratitude, and pull yourself back from catastrophizing.